Welcome to another episode of the Regular Irregular Show. I am the host with the most, aka Sleepy Melbourne, in the building, and I'm here to do something a little bit different. Still talking about Tower of God. If you heard that, that's my dog in the background. But I want to talk about one of my theories. It's not probably the most fleshed out theory just yet, but I do think that there's been a decent amount of evidence for it. So I'm going to talk about Jinsung and how I think that he and Bam are eventually going to kind of splinter off from the rest of Fug. And most of my reasoning is I think that Bam and Jin have a better rapport and connection, especially with Jin training Bam, versus like Bam and Harang, the witch, who has already in the book been like, all right, well, I'm gonna have you make this decision, and hopefully you don't end up hating me for it later, but it's going to lead to like the things that I want to happen, which maybe that's V coming back in instances like that where she has a little bit of ability to see the future. Where on the other hand, it seems like Jinsung is completely fine with allowing Bam to basically manifest himself in whichever way he wants to and see how that goes. And so a lot of my theory behind this is based off of, one, Jin allowing Bam to form his own party in the beginning when he was just starting with Fug, kind of against what the other Fug elders wanted, which kind of shows not necessarily that they're at odds, but they just have a difference of opinion. And this difference of opinion just continues to kind of like pop its head up with Jin and the rest of Fug, which kind of makes sense to me considering before Jin joined Fug, he was a well-known and respected high ranker even by the other family heads. So his fall into Fug has less to do with Zahad and more to do with like his own personal issues with his own family. So I don't think that if Bam isn't so gung-ho to try and kill Zahad, I don't think that Jin would be the most upset. I think that he's kind of moving towards allowing Bam to move freely through the tower and have his own expressions. Especially when we see in the latest chapters that Jin is immediately, it seems like, alarmed and upset that V is inside of Bam's body. And you get a lot of Jin's facial expressions, which is what kind of points me in the direction that it seems like Luseg, Harang kind of have one goal where it's like, all right, we're getting V, we're moving in this direction, and we're going against them. And I'm not sure exactly what Harang and I would say Luseg, and now we just met Luseg's secretary with the three of them. I would probably put in one group what their plan is. And I think that they're going to try and force Bam into a position that Bam doesn't want to go into, and when Bam doesn't want to go, Jin is going to step in and help him. And so I don't think that Jin has any active issue with Fug, but I do believe that his main goal will be to help Bam just basically be free in a sense, not necessarily like without any restraints, but I don't think that Jin doesn't seem like he wants Bam to lose himself so that they can accomplish this goal, where everybody else kind of seems like the boy is just a tool, and regardless of what happens, we're comfortable with him being erased or removed so we can continue to move forward. And that doesn't seem to sit right with Jin, doesn't sit right with me. And so, again, I'm pretty happy that one of my favorite characters in the story seems like he's realistically against what's happening. He's also strong enough to really enforce what he wants to happen. Obviously not the strongest inside of Fug, but that doesn't matter. I think that he's smart enough and skilled enough that they'll be able to escape, which is what I ultimately think will happen. I think that that's going to be how Bam meets back up with Kun and the rest of his group when the next season starts. And so I think Jin's going to have a lot to do with that. I don't trust Haorong right now, right, which is seeming to be... She's always felt shady to me, but she was kind of giving me vibes like Jin, but she's too elusive and too focused on her own end goal to like really allow anybody else to have freedom inside of this. And so I think that she's more on the Fug Lusek, you have to kill Zahad, that is our main goal and like mission and everything, where Bam's main mission and drive is to reach the top of the tower. So I think that puts him in conflict with Zahad, since Zahad locked the 135th floor. But I don't think that that makes him and Zahad like mortal enemies. And Jinsung isn't a mortal enemy of Zahad. So I think that that's where the differences are going to come in. Obviously, I don't think that they like Zahad. I don't think that he wants Zahad to stay in power. But I don't think that him sacrificing Bam as who Bam is worthy enough trade for him to get rid of Zahad. So that's my theory. Like I said, not a lot of evidence for this one, just kind of how Jinsung has been acting throughout the story leads me to believe that he's going to like basically honor Bam's wishes more often than not and help him to basically achieve those goals regardless of what Fug wants. And so I think that that is eventually, since now they're at the main facility of Fug or the main mothership of Fug, I think that's just going to eventually put them at odds. But yeah, this has been Sleepy Melbourne. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment below. All right, love you. I'm out.